2020. John Harbaugh was pretty agitated to the fact that because a player tested positive after they put in their inactives, they weren't able to put another guy in for him.
And that's where we were at. So we played with a man short on that one.
In my white tee.
Good Wednesday morning, fellas. What a difference a year makes. Through a dozen games last year, the Ravens were on fire. They were on 10-2. They had won 8 in a row. That streak would get to a dozen. They were running away with the AFC North. Last night, they were lucky to run away from the hapless Dallas Cowboys. They double them up. They're right back in it. At least they feel.
Lucky. They had 300 yards running from them dudes.
Come on, man. The Cowboys, they should be tripling them up the way the Cowboys are playing this year. We should mention that Baltimore has now won its first game in over a month. They snap a 3-game losing streak. They're 7-5, still on the outside. Looking in. Keyshawn J. Will and Zubin presented by Progressive Insurance. So we had all those games Sunday, 2 games Monday, a game Tuesday. Today we get the respite, and then tomorrow we're back for Thursday Night Football. The Ravens appear to be back as well. Again, not last year, not Lamar, not the unanimous MVP. Back on track, easy schedule the rest of the way. Is it possible they win out? That's a 10 win. Is it possible they can sneak in?
Well, first of all, let's back up a minute. I don't think it's an easy schedule. It's not a overly complicated schedule, right? I mean, when you think about 2 games that they could potentially lose, would be the Browns and the Giants. I got them going 3-1. One of those 2, they're going to lose, in my opinion, whether it's the Browns or whether it's the Giants.
Browns, Jags, Giants, Bengals. Those are the 4. Browns, Jags, Giants, Bengals in that order.
Because the Giants are playing for something as well, and they've seemed to have gotten better as time has gone on, especially the second half of the season, they can be a problem for them. And then Cleveland, the same sort of situation. Cleveland remembers week 2. They're playing much better now. They're not going to feel, they're at home. It doesn't really mean nothing. It's not 80,000 screaming fans. But
short week, it's a Monday night game.
At least it's at home. Mm-hmm. But Baltimore did what they're supposed to do last night. After a long layoff, like you said, finally getting this game in. Lamar Jackson coming off of the COVID situation along with Ingram and Dobbins and some of the other guys that are on the team. So when you look at what they were able to do in the rush attack last night, amounting for almost 300 yards, that says a lot about what the offensive line and the preparation has been during that off time for the coaching staff to be able to do some stuff. But let's not just concentrate on running the football. Lamar Jackson did have a couple great throws in that game, one in particular in the corner when he was flushed to the left, Hollywood Brown. But the catch was even more impressive to me, being able to get your foot down inside the right foot. His left foot down and drag it when it looked like he was going to be out the back of the end zone. So Lamar's doing what Lamar does, and I think you have to respect that. He didn't throw for 700 yards. He was 12 of 17 for 170 yards. He did have an interception that was, a little bit tip ball, but that's what you get. And you get the W.
I was overly impressed with Lamar Jackson last night. I was always wondering, I heard Adam Schefter talk about this yesterday. How will his conditioning be? How will his rhythm be? How will his timing be? And everything looked good. I think this is an opportunity for Lamar to redeem himself. He hasn't been having a bad season, but he is not having the MVP season he had before. So I think over these next 4 games, I would agree with you, Key. I think we see a different Lamar. Obviously, this game is predicated on running the ball against the worst rush defense last night in the NFL, in the Dallas Cowboys. That's where you take your medicine, against the Dallas Cowboys. And these are the type of games that give you the confidence going into the Browns game. I'll be curious to see who Vegas favors in this game, but I give Baltimore a legitimate chance to win this game. And I think they barely sneak in due to how Lamar plays.
Yeah, and you look at Lamar's statistics from last year to this year, slightly down a little bit. Completion percentage is at about 64%. Last year, 66%. To me, that's the same thing.
And who's he throwing the ball to, Key?
Hollywood Brown made a couple catches last night.
I know, but not the same big targets that we talk about.
I'd like to see him with a guy like an alpha dog. Hollywood Brown could be there, but I'd like to see him with a Julio Jones, a Michael Thomas, a DeAndre Hopkins. Give him one of those type of guys. Find a Justin Jefferson in the draft. Give him a playmaking receiver. Go get him a DK Metcalf somewhere. But historically, though, the Ravens have always, to a degree, struggled to find just big time wide receivers and alpha dogs. It's just, I guess that's just what they do in terms of what they've been able to do defensively, running the ball, and they haven't put a major emphasis on finding that receiver in the draft or in free agency, Z.
We should also mention a couple of things, just reality striking the Ravens with Lamar saying after the game, by the way, I still can't taste or smell. Right? He actually said that after the game. I can't taste, I can't smell. Obviously, that is something that people that have the coronavirus have been dealing with. Guys like Rudy Gobert, who obviously started this whole cavalcade in the sports world, they had that situation for months.
I was going to ask you.
What?
No, I was going to ask you if you can't taste or smell, because I don't follow it like that. If you can't taste or smell, what does that mean? Is it just the back end of the virus, or is it just we don't know when it's going to come back, or how does that work?
I mean, they typically do come back. I mean, it's taken a while, but those are just the symptoms of COVID-19.
Doesn't mean that it's still in your system. It just means that the smell and the taste, it takes a while to come back.
I would like to hope that he's playing on the field, that it's no longer in his system.
I guess that's what I'm asking you. I'm like, well, if the symptoms are no taste and no smell,
But speaking of a system, though, it was in Des Bryant's system, and he was on the field warming up with everybody, which was interesting to see how that whole debacle played out.
Yeah, I got it. When I saw it, I was like, somebody in the National Football League office or whoever does the testing or whatever the case is and making the decisions to play a guy or not play a guy, they dropped the ball.
Let's get into that for a second. Essentially, about a half hour before the game, Des Bryant, now a member of the Baltimore Ravens, who, of course, had a storied career with the Dallas Cowboys, signed to the Ravens practice squad, became active, has played sparingly, tested positive, tweeting right after the test that he was done for the season, then backtracking that and essentially saying
emotional, though.
Yeah, very emotional.
Frustrated, emotional.
In the moment, former team, trying to rehab himself. Lamar Jackson, his teammate, his reaction when he found out about Dez testing positive 30 minutes before kickoff.
We found out when we was on the field, warming up, and we only had like 4 receivers out there. We was looking around for him. Then they told us it was like we just gonna have to put a game for him. We got to win that game for him because we know how much it meant to him. He's been talking about it for a minute now since he's been here. So that's just I don't know. I don't like what happened, but it is what it is. We got the victory for him. I'm feeling for him though because I know he did the game he wanted to be in.
Yeah, I feel bad for him too because it's certainly 2.5 years he's been looking forward to this.
Right.
A year ago, New Orleans Saints tears his Achilles. They sign him. Then he sits out, waiting for the right opportunity. Baltimore needed a receiver. Much like you said, Z, they got him off the practice squad, put him on the practice squad, and then got him off the practice squad, signed him to the 53-man. He had an opportunity to play against the Cowboys. I'm sure he didn't sleep over the last several nights because of this, just the anxiety and the excitement to be able to go and play against his former team that cut him when he felt that he still had something to offer to the Dallas Cowboys. Then you tapped on the shoulder and told you can't play because you are positive for COVID 30 minutes before game. You would be frustrated and, tweet out or whatever he did in terms of venting that frustration, Jay.
And Key, the reason why you said that the NFL dropped the ball is that, due to